Hello lovelies, my name is Stephanie and welcome back to my channel, yeah! So if you guys have seen my last two videos, then you will know I've been making very annoying announcements about today's video because I am doing my first ever Get to Know Me. It's very exciting. So since the takeover of this channel, I've been wanting to make this channel much more personal. I reached out to you guys and I reached out to my subscribers on Instagram, and I actually got a lot more responses than I was expecting. I can answer all of those questions in this video, but I have a list here of the ones that I'm going to answer. I have my handy dandy iPad Pro ready to go. So that I can read off all of my questions from you guys. I'm sorry if I didn't answer your question in this video, but I will be doing more of these in the future, I'm sure. So just drop any more questions you have just down below. And as always, before we get started, you know what's coming, I know what's coming, we all know what's coming. Please, please, do not forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Do not forget to click that subscribe button. Do not forget to also potentially, just kind of linked to the side, click that notification bell. And if you're feeling super generous, please feel free to follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I am Steffi Lynn. And also, if you feel so inclined, please also head on over to my second channel, My Crazy Trans Life, and subscribe to me over there so that you can keep up with updates from my crazy trans life. I will link that in the description, and there'll probably have already been a card on the screen. So now that that's all out of the way, let's dive in to my first ever Get to Know Me. I wanted to say that I love that some of these questions are just like no holds barred, because some of these are hilarious. Some of them I'm not going to answer because they're very, very, very private, but I do find some of them really funny. So the first question, straight off the bat, what do you do for a living? I am so glad I received this question because I got a comment on like last week's video or the week before that's video that was like, you need to go and get a real job. And I'm here to tell you, I have a real job, just so you know. So what do I do for a living? I work in team management in heritage institutions such as the Tate Galleries, Buckingham Palace, the Science Museum, Natural History Museum, and places like that. So I manage the team that works within the retail spaces of those different areas, and I manage them in order for them to increase revenue for the museums and for the galleries. So that is what I do. I am in management positions, and I have done that at various heritage sites in the United Kingdom, specifically in London. Where are both of your parents from? This is a question I weirdly get a lot. I think it's because my face looks vaguely Middle Eastern. It's very like angular and up top, and I also have really, really tiny eyes, and people think that that is also kind of Middle Eastern Asian type of ancestry. I really hate to disappoint you, but both of my parents are actually from England. My dad is from Kent and my mum is from Cornwall. I was born and raised in Cornwall, so that's where my parents are from. I'm sorry if that's really boring. There's not really any fancy ancestry either. We're just British. Sorry. Are you straight? So let me tell you, most of my life I have kind of self-identified as heterosexual. And then quite recently, I met someone through a colleague at work who was just kind of this amazing, free-spirited woman, and she was a makeup artist and she was great. And it's the only time it ever kind of made me question my sexuality as such. So I always just say that I'm kind of, I guess, bi-curious. I mean, I identify more as like no label because I'm transgender and I like boys, and apparently I also like girls. So I would say I'm more bisexual than straight, but I have only ever had serious male partners. That's not to say I've never been with a woman, but not recently. But that girl who I am still friends with, and she knows this, she like fully made me question my sexuality. So kudos to you. Next question. Okay, so I find this really amusing, and I'm gonna answer both of these questions together because I got multiple questions about whether or not I played a sport and if I came up against kind of any challenges and things like that. So I think this is a question I get a lot because I'm very, very tall. So when I was at school, I did play netball. And then when I went to university, I was a trampolinist. So it was more kind of gymnastics and things like that. So those are the sports I have played in the past. Any challenges I faced, I mean, while I was on the trampolining team at university, I struggled sometimes being trans, you know, tucking in a leotard while you're doing a somersault is not the easiest of things. And there were times where I turned around to my coach and quite close friend and just said, today I can't do it. Today I can't spend, you know, 12 hours in duct tape in a competition. So those were kind of the challenges I faced, but I never faced any challenges from my team or anything like that. And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed trampolining, and I was actually pretty good, which is great. So yeah, those are the sports I did. And that was kind of the challenge I faced, was just the day-to-day of being trans on like a more exacerbated level. It's funny that I just answered the question about sport because the next question is, how tall are you? So I tell people that I am 6'2". I tell people I'm 6'2" because people and humans in general have no idea how tall they are. And the amount of times I've gone on a date with a guy who's 6'2" and he's shown up and he's like 5'11". So I tell everybody I'm 6'2", but I'm actually just over 6 foot. I know, I'm a liar. Hashtag exposed. Okay, so the next question is, what languages do you wish you could learn, or do you speak any that we don't know about? So I wish. When I was younger, I learnt to speak French, and obviously I'm still kind of like remedial conversational in it, and I can do greetings and counting and some songs and things like that. But I gave up on it when I left school, and I really wish I hadn't, because French is the language I kind of love the most. And so it really upsets me because I had the opportunity to carry that with me for the rest of my life and I kind of gave it up. So I would love to learn to speak French. And by that I mean I would love to be fluent in French. Yeah, so that is the language I wish I could learn to speak. What is your dream car, if you have one? I don't drive. No, I'm just kidding. My dream car is probably a 1967 Mustang, just because they are beautiful. They are stunning. I mean, if I was to get like a new car and I had all of the money in the world, I'd get like a Porsche or something better than a Porsche, because a Porsche isn't really very good. I just like how they look. I mean, yeah, no, I'd get a Mustang. I'd get a vintage Mustang. They're just so great. They look great. But I have to say, I am more into like the idea of being a motorcyclist than I am into the idea of being a driver. So I might get a motorcycle. What is your dream job? My dream job, this is like a very specific dream job. I would like to be an LGBTQ+ focused art curator, specifically contemporary art curation. So I'd like to have my own gallery and I would like to curate shows of the LGBTQ+ community, solely people from like a less kind of privileged background and things like that, just to kind of share artwork that probably isn't being seen, that really needs to be seen. So that is my dream job, and it's a dream I hopefully am going to achieve one day. But yeah, I would like to be a contemporary art curator specializing in LGBTQ+ artwork. Tell us about the good parts of uni. It can't be all bad. So I think this is quite funny because from the video of me coming out at university, which if you haven't seen, I will link it just above me somewhere in one of these places. So university was really hard for me and I did struggle, but there were some great parts of university, specifically making a lot of friends was great, and discovering my own independence was great. But I think the greatest thing to come out of university for me was it was my ticket out of where I lived. So I got to be more authentically myself, and I got to live freer. And that was probably the best part of university. It also massively changed my development in terms of what I wanted to do in a career. So there were some really great parts of university, but I don't want anyone to think that my university experience was only bad because I was outed. I mean, it did hugely affect it, but I did have a lot of fun, and I made some great friends that I will have for the rest of my life. So yeah, those are kind of the good bits. What do you do in your free time? When I have free time, which is very rare, I film YouTube videos for you guys, so you're welcome. But if I'm not doing that, then I'm usually seeing friends, or I'm in a gallery of some description somewhere. I love to travel, but I don't have the opportunity to right now because of what's happening in the world. And I've also, if you've been watching the channel for a while, recently been unemployed for a little bit, so I'm not traveling anywhere right now. But yeah, when I'm not working, I'm seeing friends, and I'm usually in galleries. I love theatre, so I'm maybe in a theatre show, singing along. So yeah, that's what I don't do when I'm not at work or doing this. I also have an unhealthy addiction to Disney+. So that takes up a lot of my time. Have you had sex yet? Oh my god. No, I have not had sex yet. I'm assuming you mean with my new genitals. I had had sex before, but I have not had sex with my new vagina. Thank you so much for asking. I greatly appreciate your healthy curiosity in my sex life. What's wrong with you guys? What's your favourite dessert? My favourite dessert is a toss-up between two. I love lemon meringue pie. Loves it. It is my favourite dessert. But I do also love a key lime pie, and recently I invented this whole new thing with the help of some friends, which was a lime meringue pie, but it had like a gingerbread base. It was very good, but I would say it's probably lemon meringue pie. I do, however, have celiac disease, which means I am gluten, wheat and barley intolerant, which makes eating pie quite hard. So I will just make gluten-free lemon meringue pie whenever I can, which is not very often, but lemon meringue pie is my favourite thing. I do like brownies too. Brownies are good too, but brownies are less of a dessert. Did you vacation with your family in a lot of different countries growing up, or were your vacations mainly in the UK? So, while I was growing up, we had very little money. So we did those like £9.50 Sun holiday things where you collected all of the tokens from the newspaper, and then you got to go on holiday for like £10, and it was usually in a caravan, and it was usually in Devon. And that was kind of my childhood. My first trip abroad, I was 11 years old, and I went to Disneyland Paris with my school, and it was amazing. It was great. It was pre-transition, which was very strange. So that was my first trip out of the country. I loved it at Disneyland Paris, have been back since, would recommend. But the first time, it's actually the first and only time that I've been abroad with my family was to Menorca when I was 16 years old, and then I moved away from home, and then I've not been anywhere else with them since, because although I do absolutely adore my family, after spending more than 5 days with them, I want to strangle them all with their own hair. What was your favourite subject at school and why? I loved all the creative subjects, so I used to sing a lot, so I loved music. I also loved my art lessons, and I loved my media studies lessons. I also really enjoyed my English literature lessons, but if I were to pick a favourite, it would probably have been media studies, if not art. It's like a toss-up between art and media studies. So they were my favourite subjects at school. I enjoyed them because I got to be creative and I got to do my own thing, and they were just really fun, and I had really lovely teachers in both of those subjects, so yeah, that's why I like them. So media studies, art, And then like music and English lit, they were my faves. They were also the ones I did best in at GCSEs, so yeah. What kind of music do you listen to? Any bands that are cringeworthy that you love regardless? Okay, so music I listen to. I love like pop music, indie music, folk music, and country music. Those are like the genres I really, really enjoy. I love like chart pop because it's just like really, it's just good. Like, I'm sorry, but it's just good. Cringeworthy bands, I mean, I love Little Mix. Love Little Mix. Destiny's Child, great. My favourite band of all time is like a kind of unknown band from Canada called Hey Rosetta. Their album, Second Sight, is amazing. You should listen to it. But they broke up before I was exposed to them. So I was feel really kind of melancholy about it because there's no new music, which is really upsetting. My like guilty pleasure music is like Dolly Parton because I love her. She's great. She's everything. And Cher's great. But yeah, those are kind of the bands I love the most. I think my favourite artists are like Dolly Parton, Lizzo, Cher, you know, Destiny's Child, Little Mix, Hey Rosetta, obviously, but they're kind of like my actual favourite band. I love Paloma Faith. Paloma Faith is great. She was my first ever concert. So yeah, I listen to like pop and country and some like folk and indie kind of stuff. Why did I pick this one? Why did I pick this as the last one? I don't, why did I do this? What's an embarrassing moment that haunts your memories at 3 AM when you're trying to sleep? I don't know. I don't really like, all of the moments that keep me up at night are like ones that I'm not like willing to share because a lot of them are like sexual, which isn't great. Cringeworthy moments from like my childhood. We were on a safari tour once in Somerset at this place called Longleat House. And we were on a boat trip and there were seals in the water and sea lions. And I was 9. And I said to the person who was doing the tour of the boat, I said, "Excuse me, but are sea lions related to actual lions?" And I thought it was a great question. And the guy on the boat was like, "That's a really good question." And my whole family are just behind me, like verbally disowning me on a boat. So yeah, I was 9. I was 9 years old. But yeah, that was an embarrassing moment for sure. But yeah, the things that the memories that like keep me up at night are like more gross than they are embarrassing. I'm also really clumsy, so I have fallen over a lot. And there was this time when I worked for like a shopping like centre, but it was like outside and really posh. And I like fully face planted in front of my like senior boss because my shoelaces were untied, and I went down, cut up all my knees, so that was very embarrassing. But yeah, the things that keep me up at night are just kind of like gross things or sexual things or both, so not going to be sharing those here, but yeah. So that was the last question that I'm going to answer, guys, because otherwise this video would be longer than my transgender journey video, and that is just not okay. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted their questions. I will be doing more things like this in the future, so make sure that you're subscribed to me here and that you're following me on Instagram so that you can submit your questions whenever you want to. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please consider giving it a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, notification bell, second channel. You get it. You get it. You get what's happening here. You understand that. You understand. Just gonna give you a few moments, just in case you wanted to do any of those things. I mean, they're just down there. They're just down there. You know, they're in the description. Yeah? Okay, so that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed my first ever get to know me on this channel. I'm hoping to do more things like this in the future, and I will see how this is received. If it's received well, it will become more of a staple, and if not, then we'll just try and forget about it. I hope you learned a little bit more about me, and that I shared a bit more of myself with you guys, and that it can just make the channel more personal, kind of moving forwards. So yes. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I do really, really appreciate it. That's all from me, my lovelies, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye!